Hey, what's going on, everyone? I got one of our clients here, Lorena, and I just wanted to bring her on and showcase her results and working with us at Executive Advantage. So, Lorena, why don't you tell everyone who you are, what you do, and where you were at before working with us at Executive Advantage?
So my name is Lorena Valencia, and I am the CEO and founder of Asyego, and we are a digital marketing agency, a successful one now, right? I started with the agency about 6 years ago. When I first started, I kind of started all over the place. So it was basically me self-teaching myself through YouTube. And I started because I was actually a breast cancer survivor and I needed to do something from home. I had been in the corporate space. I had been, working for a law firm. But after going through breast cancer, it kind of hit me that I was not spending time at home, that I was not spending time with my kids. I would literally spend about 1 hour a day with them. So that it really hit bottom, and I really hit bottom, and I was like, I need to do something from home. So I'm like, let's start a company. So I always had a passion for marketing. I went ahead, started the company, but I started literally just with my nails, going on YouTube, learning on YouTube, and I really didn't have a mentor. And then I started getting clients, and I was, doing great work for them, and I would do whatever came on, whatever they needed me to do, I would do it all. And I was not making a lot of money, and second, I was not getting results for them either. So then, I kind of like the traditional way of marketing was not working for myself, and it wasn't working for my clients either. And then the other thing happened that I had like only 5 clients. I was making very little, and then I was working so hard. I would work till like 2 in the morning, and then the original reason why I started the business of spending time with my family, I was kind of in that hole again of, because I had no system, no strategy, no real way of producing for my clients or for myself. Now I'm here working till 2 a.m. and I'm falling into the same thing that I had before when I was in the corporate world. I was actually working more and making less. So, long story short, because a lot of things happen in between. Even because the agency wasn't doing well, my husband actually started driving. He became a semi truck driver. He started sacrificing himself because we needed to make an income in our house. So he started driving, and that kept us away. Like we would only see each other for about 1 week in the month, and the money was good, but at the price of what he wasn't seeing our kids. We weren't spending time, as a married couple, and it's not what we had in mind. That's not, when you look at success, that's not what success looks like. So long story short, I came into your system through an ad, and I saw your seminar, the webinar that you have. And I remember I spoke with someone on your team, and they started asking me questions about, what do I want in life? What do I want for my agency? What are some of the goals? And I told them the first goal that I have was I want my husband to stop driving. And I'm pretty sure if you guys record the call, you're going to see that one of my goals is like, I want my husband to stop driving. And I didn't have the money to invest in your course. So I was like, you know what, let me see what I can do. But I had seen a lot of webinars, because I remember 5 years, I've been doing this for 5 years. It's not working. And I realized that I needed to invest in myself. You need to invest money to make money. And I had already learned my lesson that I needed to invest it. Now the thing is, on what? Because I had spent a couple $100 there, here and there, and it had not given me any results. So then, as I'm talking to, one of your team members, I hang up the phone. I don't get the program that day. And then, you know what, I prayed, and I told my husband, you know what, if this is for me, something's going to happen. We're going to get the money for this. And long story short, I ended up, my mom had passed away, and there was a car that we had under her name, but it was my car. It was the one that I was driving, and I was paying for it. And the bank tells me that they're going to repossess the car because it's under her name. And I'm like, shoot, now I don't have a car. Long story short, something happens in that transaction. Then I get like this idea. I'm like, let me sell the car to CarMax and then rebuy it I did like this transaction. Long story short, I made $9,000 in that transaction. And then I was like, this is what I need for the course. So the moment I get the sale for that car, I start calling you back. And I remember I sent an email to you, to the team. I looked for you on Facebook. I was like, where are they? Where are they? I need to get the program. So I got the program. In that moment, we were not good financially, but it was like the step of faith that we did it. I got the program. And at the same time, because the agency had dropped, I ended up losing all my clients. The agency just went down, down, down. I lost all of my clients. It was not good. And then I took a job. I took a job as a bookkeeper, and I was working for an attorney when I bought the course. So then I was doing bookkeeping and the course. So half bookkeeping and looking at the course, half bookkeeping and looking at the course. And then one day I told my husband, this does not work like this. You know, I started implementing some things like mindset, and especially the first weeks of the course where you're taught on how to set up a schedule, how to be laser-eyed focused on one thing. And as I started to getting into more of the course, I started understanding, I'm doing this half-assed, excuse my language, I'm doing this halfway. And I told my husband, you know what, I need to go all in. So I called the attorney and I told him, listen, I've always had a dream of having my own agency, and he knew that I was an entrepreneur. And I actually didn't he tried to bust my bubble, you know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what? He wanted me to continue to work with him. And he was like, look, are you sure you want to do that? So he kind of put fear into me, but I was like, so decided. I was decisive of what I did not want. Like, we were in a moment that we did not want the life that we had in that moment. So I was like, yes, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to let go and I'm going to go full in on this. And that's what I did. Long story short, we started attacking it, and just going through the course, doing everything, implementing and getting on calls. And in about 3 weeks of really working hard, of saying no to, I had an income of like $2,500 a month, $2,500 a month. And in 2 weeks, I ended up getting 2 clients. One of them was for $5,000 a month. And then there was another one for like 2,000. And I started growing up and started getting on clients. Long story short, in about a month or 2 months, it took like 2 months for us to be at 15,000 a month of clients, from having 0 income to having 15,000 a month. And then we started growing. And then, so I quit with the attorney January. I went all in February. And by February, I told my husband, I need you in the business. I can't do this alone. So I would say 4 months after being in the program actively, he stopped driving. and now he's a COO. He's the COO of our agency, and he's the one that does like all of the operations. And now we're here working together. And it's going to be almost a year that we're working together, and that, you know, we're doing this, lifting up the business together, working together. And it's been an incredible journey.
That was
awesome, a lot. You told me, I don't know if you wanted me to talk for a little bit.
No, that's an awesome story. And one of the things that you mentioned was, like, you were like kind of like scattered doing this, you're going to YouTube tutorials, you're doing like a whole bunch of different things, right? You're probably doing a bunch of different outreach methods. And you said your business was kind of like you're taking on any client. So how did we really help you, I guess, simplify the business? And I know you said that get laser focused, and I guess, how did that help you with like just simplifying the business and even your life and like the personal side? How did that really help like scale the business or get results or like really just grow things? Like, how did that help?
Well, you gave me a product. See, before I needed to develop my own products. So I needed to create graphics for a client. And then I would create the need that they needed to put these graphics on Facebook. And then I would create the need that they needed in Instagram, and that they needed to grow their Instagram accounts, and that they needed to get 1,000 followers. So I would create like this need that I didn't even know if it was going to work. Right. But you had given me a product that's proven that I had to do to get clients. And then it started working for me. So I'm like, this is working for me. So now I just got to duplicate this for my clients. So now with a good face and with a face of integrity, I can tell my clients this works. And one of the things that I tell them is, look, I'm not like one of those marketers that tells you that they're selling you something that they don't use. And up to this day, we have not spent $1 on Facebook ads. And we have taken the company in about 7 months, we have made over $100,000 already without spending 1 cent on Facebook, you know? Now, I know that every business can go to Facebook and scale even more, and that's where we're heading, right? But to answer your question, what did you give me that was different? You gave me a product that you tested, that worked for you, and that other people had worked for them. And all I had to do was copy paste, put my persona into it, put my values into it, my principles, and repeat. So you gave me a product that was tested and that it actually works. And you gave me the education also. You gave me the education, which is important, because in the beginning, when you try to sell something and you don't know what you're selling, you don't sound confident, right? Or if you try to sell something that you don't even know if it's going to work. I with confidence, I will just look at my calendar. That's what I will tell them. Look at my calendar, or look at now. And now I have other clients' calendars that I can show them. Look at their calendar. This is what we're doing for them. And another thing is that what I really liked about your program was, before we even got into learning about marketing and setting the systems up, you dealt a lot with the initial foundation that an entrepreneur needs. Something like reading, investing time in yourself, having a schedule, waking up early, eating healthy. And then that is what true success is. Because what happens if right now I'm making $100,000 and I'm sick? You know what I mean? So it's like, you gave me the foundation. And as my husband, he did the same training as well. We all set ourselves up to, like, for success. We know that we need to dedicate time for ourselves, time to grow, time for our business, time to deal with our clients, time to nurture our clients, and always be closing. ABC is like always be on the phone, you know, and reading books and investing in ourselves and having a schedule and being disciplined. If there's no discipline, it doesn't work. I mean, success doesn't just happen by accident. And you gave the framework, you gave an agenda, you gave a schedule, you gave books to read, you gave recommendations. I mean, you gave it all.
Yeah. And I think those are like the core things, like you said, the foundational things that I know a lot of entrepreneurs, even myself, struggled with. Like myself, once I got my schedule and I really mastered it, and like I've hired high performance coaches on retainers that I was paying like thousands of dollars a month to optimize and like systematize all the things. So like all I just focus on is the main things that are the highest leverage activities, and I can structure my life in a way that actually provides the freedom that the business can, give you when you build it the right way, right? And you also mentioned systems, right? Because I think a lot of people, they don't really focus on building systems. So, I mean, maybe we could talk about our system, but even just like systems in general, like how did we help you integrate systems and the process into your business? And like, how has that really transformed things?
So when I first had an agency, I had like no system. I didn't have like an organized way of setting things up. So one of the things that I really enjoyed, I love order, but sometimes I don't understand what's first, what's in the middle, and what's last. And you kind of gave me the steps and the breakdown. This is first, this is second, then you do this. You know, a lot of times people say like, oh, let's do Facebook at first. You're like, no, just start getting on calls first. You started giving me a system. So then as I started building it for myself and I started setting the system of work for me, then I started replicating. And then one of the things that you taught me through the mentorship and through the mentorships part of the course is, once you've done it, get yourself out. Then you taught me how to scale, right? Because then I was going to fall into the same thing that I didn't want to fall before, which is I am so busy that I have no time, you know? So then the system teaches you, I mean, the program teaches you to set systems. They're working. Now remove yourself away, delegate so that you're closing and concentrating on scaling the business. So it gave me a plan. It gave me, like, with your system, I can make 15,000 a month or 50,000 a month or 100,000 a month. You know, all I have to do is follow what you're telling me to do. And that's where we're in the middle in right now. of how do I scale this? And I don't have to go and hire a coach. I don't have to go and get another course. It's in your course. Everything is on there. So I truly see the value of how you don't give a product, you give an entire business that it takes, I believe it takes thousands and a lot of hours to get to where to get, you know how I saw this? I saw this like if I went to college and like did like a 4-year degree, something like that. But it didn't cost me what a 4-year degree cost, and I hate to say this, but there's a lot of people with 4-year degrees that they're not making the kind of money that, that we make on by implementing what we have learned in the course. So it's like, it's totally possible.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to put it. I never wanted to get into like thinking of like a university course or something, but it is like it took me like, because this is all I do. Like I live and breathe this stuff, right? So my life is this. And so like I put in like that like 30,000 hours into like really refining and also implementing. So we use a scientific method approach to like refine, iterate, and we use it in our own business, and then we're able to transfer it to you guys. And then when you guys implement it, you're sharing even with us on our calls that we have going back and forth what's working for you. We test it, we implement it, then we give it to you guys, and then it just the whole community gets better, right? Which is
But
pretty powerful.
that's what I think. That's why I think it's why it works, is because you didn't hold anything back. You and your team,
Mm,
you guys don't hold anything back. And it keeps on replicating itself, because you're not holding anything back. You're giving us everything, everything that we need that's working for you. So that's what it's going to work for us. It only does not work if I try to cut corners or if I try to do it in a different way.
mhm,
That's the only way that it won't work. But it's something that truly works.
mhm.
Absolutely, it absolutely truly works.
Yeah, definitely. And I know one of the big things that I helped you with as well is really building out the pre-selling mechanism. So how did that help you with like your sales process? Because I know you love sales. So how did that really help you with your sales process and closing deals?
So in your system, you taught me about the 3-step closing system. And I truly understood why you need to speak someone a couple of times. And I'll tell you, even though I'm a salesperson and I have a background in sales, I am not a pushy salesperson. I'm not pushy. I'm not the type of person that says, look, if you don't buy this now, tomorrow is going to be, $10,000 more expensive and the sale ends tonight. I'm not that type of person. I'm more of, I like to build rapport and I'm very good talking. But I created the pre-sales mechanism. And believe it or not, we sent out that presentation, and that is my 24-hour salesperson that does not ask for a raise. Okay. And they're not on payroll. But that video, I'm still using the video that I recorded a year ago. I haven't changed it because it works. And I remember, let me tell you how I recorded that video. I did not have ScreenFlow because I couldn't afford it. I ended up downloading this program and I had to play with my screen. It was extremely difficult to record that because I couldn't afford it. But now, I talk to someone, it's 15 minutes. I ask some questions. So it's not about me talking all the time. You taught me how to do that. You told me how to ask questions, find out what their challenges are. The most trusted profession is the doctor. What does the doctor do? They just listen. So I just have to listen so that I can diagnose. And guess what? In their eyes, now I'm the expert. You taught me how to do that. So I do that. And then I send them the pre-selling mechanism. And in the pre-selling mechanism, I'm touching the emotional parts of why they need to take action now. Even though it's marketing, there's still a reason, and an emotional and a personal reason why they need to make changes in their business. So the pre-selling mechanism, they do that. And after they see it, I schedule a call and I'm like, so what did you think? And they tell me, well, you hit on all the right marks, and all of the problems that you discussed are, that's exactly what I'm doing. And then the closing part is easier. It's like a no-brainer. It's easier to close when the pre-selling mechanism has already set it's kind of the pre-selling mechanism. I call it like it wakes them up, and I don't have to be face to face with them. Like there I say some truths, there I tell them, look, you don't really have a business if you don't have a repeatable way of getting consistent, of getting clients consistently and a copy paste way of getting, see, now I sound like you, and a copy paste way of generating prospects, you don't have a business. And I put that in my Preselling Mechanism. So they're like, wait, I don't have a business? Yeah, you don't. You know, if you're doing hope marketing, you don't have a business. And then when they get on the phone with me, you know, it's easier to close the deal. It's really about, you know, I don't have to convince them. It's about getting the numbers right.
Mm. Yeah, and that's so powerful. I know it changed the game for me when I started doing that, because then you're not educating people. You're not telling them the same thing. Or it's like I just noticed what I was saying on the call. I just took like I was doing 45-minute sales calls, but it'd run for like an hour and a half. I'm like, okay, well, how can I cut that down and put it beforehand? So when they get on the phone, it's like now we're focusing on the main things, and if it makes sense, they're gonna buy. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been super powerful. And I know in that video, and a lot of things I talk about is the proprietary method. So how did that help as well? Because there's a lot of agencies who say they can do this, and like a lot of marketers that are on LinkedIn and all these different platforms. So how did that really help you like stand out or dial in your messaging? And how did the proprietary method like come into play?
So my proprietary method was called SPAS, Steady Persona Acquisition System. And the way that I sell it is this, and this is what I tell them. This is what I tell my prospect. Look, did I sound like any other marketing agency? Did I tell you that I was doing marketing? I didn't. I do, and I tell them I was not using marketing. I was not using leads, email campaigns. I was not using the traditional verbiage that a marketer uses. And I learned that through your system. Your system taught me, like, it took me one day to just start writing down words and creating my proprietary method. And then I tell them, and you'd be surprised how many people on my campaigns, they ask me, what is SPAS? And what it does is that it brings them to me to have a conversation to me. And they're not like, hey, why don't we get on the phone? So the proprietary method, I believe it has been one of the things that brings success to the campaigns. And it makes me stand out in a platform that is exploding right now, because there is a lot of traction. Everybody's talking and everybody is sending campaigns. But the question is, how do I stand out? And the way that I'm going to stand out is by having a proprietary way of doing things, right? And with my persona, with the way that I do things, what I believe in. And that I called it SPAS, SPAS. And sometimes people ask me, wait, does that have to do with like spas? I'm like, no, it's a steady persona, but it raises a question and it's a conversation started. So it does work, because if I would have put something, and I have clients that they do not want to have like a proprietary method, and I've gone along with it. And the campaign does not have the success of the clients that do have a proprietary method. Like they'll want to go the traditional way, and then I'll be okay, let's try it. But then I'm gonna be like, you see, it didn't work. Now let's do it my way, and then we start getting results. So we always incorporate that into getting to. I remember that there was in part of the course, the persona part, getting to know the persona, getting to know someone's challenges. And I read in a book from Zig Ziglar, and it's what you taught, but this statement reinforced what you taught me. And Zig Ziglar, he says on one of his books, give enough people what they want, and then you will end up getting what you
Having
want.
what you want. Yeah. I love that quote.
Right? I love that quote. And it's basically what you gave us was, okay, so I need to know the persona. What are their challenges? What keeps them up at night? What makes them, what makes them hurt? What hurts their business? If their business is hurting, what personal consequences can that bring to their life? When you understand that, and when you're after that, and when you're after fixing that problem, understanding the persona, you're able to make an impact in your conversations. And one of the things that you taught me is like, the lawyer doesn't have the same problems as the doctor or as a coach. You have also different industries, and each industry is going to have a different way of speaking to them. And I was able to develop that confidence through your program, that I'm able to talk to a lawyer or a doctor or a coach or a small business owner that's just starting off and they need more help, or someone that thinks that they know it all, but there's, maybe I can help that person that knows it all. So it gives you that confidence to have these conversations with these entrepreneurs that their business is hurting, and, we're here to help them out.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you mentioned that like, your husband's now into the business, and which is awesome. And he's now like taking over operations and stuff and focusing more on sales. So how did like really building that team out? Because I know you also have a fulfillment team, and I know we worked on like SOPs and dialing that in. So how did like really building a team help you like scale things up? And because like you said, you removed yourself, able to focus more on sales, I guess. So like how did building that team like really impact your business, and what did it do for you?
So I'll explain it like this. The day has 24 hours and I have to sleep 8. I have to work out. I have to spend time with my kids. I'm homeschooling, by the way. The business gave me the blessing that I'm able to put my kids in a homeschool that I want. It's not a public homeschool. It's the homeschool that goes according to my values. And I have to pay for it monthly and I can afford it, you know. Um, so the day has 24 hours. And if 5 clients that I have takes, and honestly, I work in the business, I try to do a 9 to 5 because after I have to take my kids to an activity, or maybe I don't want to work 9 to 5, maybe I work 9 to 2, as long as they're income producing activities, right? So if I have decided that I'm going to work from 9 to 5 because that is the schedule that I need for my lifestyle to be healthy, to be successful. And I'm not talking successful financially, I'm talking in a balanced life, right? And I have 5 clients and I only have time for those 5 clients, then I'm doing something wrong. Because then I'm only dealing with those 5 clients and I'm not able to add more people to my pipeline. So then I needed to start bringing someone in. So the first thing what I did is I did it myself. I did it for myself. I did the setup. And then I brought someone in and I taught them how to do the setup. Then, for example, if there's a customer service part that we do for our clients, that I was servicing my clients in that aspect, managing their campaigns and their responses, then I taught somebody else how to do that. And then while somebody's taking care of that, now I have more time to get on my sales calls and to be able to be able to do calls. So as I started delegating, I started handing off and handing off and handing off to the point that now I needed to the team. I grew very rapidly, so my husband had to come in and I had to teach him everything, so that now he's training other assistants to do what we do. And now, before, like, a setup would take us, like, I was taking very long to do a setup. Now we get the setup done in like 3 days, you know? So how did it help me scale my system, or why is that important? The day has 24 hours. You can only do so much. And I have the options of dealing with setting up integrations, or I have the options of having calls with prospects and closing deals. So in that aspect, we divided ourselves, where I am closing calls at a schedule that I have determined, so that I'm able to get more clients, and I'm doing it without stress. You know, the day has 24 hours. There's a time for to deal with my current clients. There's a time that I speak to my team, and there's a time that I'm doing closings. And it gives me balance. So that's why I believe it creates that that removing yourself and having a team, it gives you balance. It's going to give you more freedom. Initially, it takes time. It takes time for you to train someone and record the videos and the tutorials and things like that, but it does pay off at the end of the day.
Mm. Yeah, that's so powerful. And being able to like really have that balance, because I think a lot of people get into this space where they're doing everything themselves and then they get burnt out. They can't focus on other things. And like you said, sometimes you're up at 2 a.m. trying to fix client accounts and stuff. When you have other people do it, you can just focus on the team, sales calls, and like whatever you need to do. And then, going into the next phase is delegating those so you can just scale the business. And I guess this, like, one of the last questions I have is, what was the most valuable part of the program, do you feel? Like, was it the live calls or the community? What do you feel the most valuable part is?
It's very hard to get one thing because, I mean, the program gave me a product, gave me foundation, gave me something I didn't have. And I remember, as I was going through the program, I was like, I can't believe we're getting so much for the price that I paid. That was my thought. And then, now that I'm part of a community, and that I'm able to ask questions. And when I'm stuck, you have an incredible team that gives incredible support. I mean, I can't choose one of them because they're both good. They're both really up there. And the community, the team that's there answering a message, celebrating with you as well. Or, sometimes you're stuck, even though I'm in marketing, there's some technical things that I get stuck, and I always have a response. I always, and that is, if you're out there, that costs money. I don't know if people understand that, but for you to have someone to answer a technical question, that costs money in other, outside. And here, your community does that. They're always responding. They're always there. I honestly, to me, everything is valuable. Everything is very, very high value. It's hard to choose.
That's awesome. Now it's good to hear, because we really value ourselves on like our number one value is client obsession. Like we just focus on like relentless improvement, focusing on the client. And then again, whatever we get better, we then give it to the clients. So then they get better results, and it just feeds back, which is great. And I guess like someone that's in the program, or maybe someone that's skeptical looking at the program, wanting to jump in, what would you say to those people that are on the fence?
Man, take the step. What would I say? I would say, man, I'm just if my story can be of any type of what do you call it, of influence, it's go ahead and take it as a real life story. If you're on the fence and you've had an agency and you're all over the place, or maybe you want to have a business, man, when I wish I would have had this 5 years ago. If I would have started, I would probably be a millionaire right now. But I didn't have the help. And if you're on the fence and you need systems, you need a foundation. This is the thing. I've been in other programs in the past, and they'll give you one thing, and a lot of times you have to buy foundations. Then you got to get a coach for scheduling. Then you got to get a coach for Facebook ads. Then you got to get a coach for Google ads, and you have to start buying out. This program has it all, including the customer service. Okay. So if you're on the fence, I've done my homework and I've gone in and out of communities. And this literally is the best place to be at if you want to have foundation, systems, a reliable product that you can sell that works, okay? And then a community that backs you up and that gives you help. So it's very hard to find programs like this out there, very, very hard, because I looked for them, okay? And that's why when I found it, I did whatever it took, even selling a car, to get into the program. And the other thing is that there's something called analysis paralysis. You have to start somewhere. You have to just take the step of faith. You have to, you have to learn from someone that has already done it. Why reinvent the wheel? And it's a lot more difficult for you to create something on your own. So if you have this and you just copy, you start implementing what it's taught on the course, you're going to be successful. Now, I will say this: if you are looking for a program that's easy and that you don't have to invest time in it, don't buy this one, because this, you have to put in the time. You have to put in the focus. You have to have the discipline. You have to get on the calls, and you have to do what you don't like. It doesn't matter. If you don't like doing integrations, you're going to have to learn in the beginning, so that then in the future you teach somebody else. So if you're in the fence, just take the step of faith. You're not going to regret it. And you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest to make money. You have to invest in yourself to scale up. It's, I was at a circle for 5 years, learning on my own, looking for the cheapest course and the free seminar. It works for a moment, but that's only going to that's going to have a limit. I cannot talk bad about those years that I did that, because it's part of the growth that I went through. Right. And I'm happy that I went through that system, but I also through that education, because that's what I could do. But if you're in a moment that you could make a small sacrifice or a big sacrifice, just do it. just do it. You're not going to regret it. You have to invest in yourself. And not only that, now is the time to do it, because a lot of businesses right now need what we do. So there is a huge need for what we do, so the time is now.
Mm, I love it. And I thank you so much for hopping on, Lorena. Your story is super inspiring. And I know you're just getting started. And I can't wait to see you scale things up with the new program, which you're in now, which,
I
yeah,
know, I can't wait.
awesome. Well,
Yes,
thank you so much for hopping on and get some more booms.
absolutely.